So the big pay-per-view has started, and the first fight was for the English lightweight title, Ohara Davies versus Andy Keats. You know, Ohara Davies was fighting in a pretty empty arena, but nevertheless, good for him that he was on the pay-per-view. He's clearly starting the process of trying to turn himself into a big name. We've seen him turning up at other promoters' cards, calling out prospects in Romeo. We've seen him start some smack talk with his opponent here, you know, showing a lot of disrespect. He's also done a rebranding of himself, doing the Tommy Hearns look with the sort of afro and the yellow shorts. He's clearly trying to put himself in that mould. And yeah, you know, this was, I guess you could say, a bit of a step up for Ohara Davies. And with that, he's bringing some press and some publicity. Do you know what? I've seen Ohara Davies fight little bits before. I don't know if I've ever sat down to fully watch one of his fights before. And I must say, I knew he was a bit classier. I knew he had some bits to his game. And he showed that. He was a level above Andy Keats here. Keats really had nothing at all to bother Davies with. But if I'm going to be brutally honest, I wasn't overly impressed with this performance. And right now, I'd say Ohara Davies still has a lot of learning to do before moving up to mix it with the British level lightweight. Certainly, you know, we've heard him linked with names such as Luke Campbell. You know, certainly he's not at that level. I would say that, to be honest, he's still not at the level of a Scott Cardle or a Tommy Coyle either, based on this performance. For me, it was, you know, Ohara Davies gets low, gives lots of angles, picks very pretty shots. His shots are unpredictable. He throws uppercuts and body shots from angles you wouldn't expect him to. Yeah, he seems to be medium to heavy-handed, and because of that, he's an intriguing fighter to watch. But some of the basics he's not doing. For me, he was very, very flat-footed in there. He was also throwing far too many single shots. So he was throwing far too many single shots, leading with power punches as well. There was not much of a jab, and when he did throw a jab, it was a bit of a tapping jab rather than a jab with any menace behind it, if I'm honest. It was quite a weak jab in that sense. Yeah, flat-footed, not much of a jab, loading up on single shots, and there was this weird moment in the third when he was trying to finish, and he quite literally just went right cross, right cross, right cross, right cross, and he probably did it 10 or 15 times on the bounce. You know, I'd have liked to see him throw a bit of combinations, move a bit, change side to side, and throwing different punches, you know. I also thought defensively he's got a lot of work to do as well. You know, Andy Keats looked to be a very overmatched opponent, but Keats was able to time him and to counterpunch him. And, you know, when you're getting counterpunched by a guy at this level, it suggests you need to adjust your defences. And for me, Ohara Davies was very, very vulnerable when he was actually throwing his heavy punches. And a good element of that was the fact that he wasn't moving, there wasn't much lateral movement, he was quite flat-footed, and he was just throwing single punches, you know. And when someone's consistently throwing single punches, you know that you can you know, try and risk opening up your defence and throwing one back. You don't have to worry about a second punch landing. So, you know, for me, Ohara Davies, interesting. He's clearly got some class. He's an intriguing fighter to watch. The punches he throws are interesting. He's got some punch variety. He throws some interesting angles. He's clearly got a bit of power behind him. But for a fighter as big and rangy as he is at the weight, I really think he's going to need to develop his jab. And I think he's got a lot of work to do in terms of movement and defence. You know, this performance showed that he was well in above of Southern Area level, English level. But in terms of that step up to British level, and lightweight's quite stacked domestically, I think there's a lot of the fundamentals that he still has to work on. Let me know your thoughts. You know, were you impressed? Were you not impressed? Where do you see him going from here? Many thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this, do hit the thumbs up.